By now, many of you know about the situation in Virginia with the governor, Ralph Northam, and the blackface and Ku Klux Klan picture that was on his yearbook page. This man is just flip flopping all over the place. He first admitted that he was in the picture, then he said he wasn't in the picture. But how much does that really matter? That picture appeared on your yearbook page. Obviously, no one at the school had any objection to it because they published it in 1984. When y'all claim we come a long way, no, we haven't. No, we haven't. We're just going through the motions, but this country really hasn't come a long way at all. And that's living proof of it. 1984, somebody should have had sense enough to know that was inappropriate to put in a yearbook. Even if you submitted that picture, how did it get there? It didn't. That's not a random picture that ended up on your page. Somebody had to submit that picture, just like all of those other pictures on your yearbook page. So no, Ralph, you don't get a free pass on this one. So the calls for the sitting governor is getting louder and louder for him to resign within his own party and within the public. People are telling him it's time to go. But of course, he is vowing to hang on to his governor seat in Virginia. Well, what you may not know is the lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, is a black man. And if Ralph Northam does resign, he will be the second black governor in the history of Virginia. So we don't know how things are going to turn out right now. He has not stepped down, but I think the pressure will cause him to step down. I mean, how do you go on when something like that appears? You got people of all races and ethnicities in Virginia. I sure wouldn't think you would be a fair person at this point. Obviously, showing that picture on your yearbook page, it clearly shows you have some type of racial bias that you believed in enough to put that picture there. So the lieutenant governor, Justin Fairfax, is a lot of things. Virginia's current governor is not. He's young, charismatic, and part of a multicultural wave sweeping through the Commonwealth's Democratic Party. He could soon be called upon to lead the state should Governor Ralph Northam, a fellow Democrat, reverse course and adhere to the avalanche of calls inside and outside of Virginia for him to resign. If that happens, Fairfax would only be the second African American governor to serve in the history of Virginia, and one of just a few across the country since Reconstruction. Fairfax, who was 39, was seen as a rising star within the party long before the controversy surrounding Northam's 1984 medical school yearbook page, which includes a picture depicting one man in blackface and one dressed as a Ku Klux Klan member, erupted late last week. So, I mean, he's not going to be able to live this down. I don't know what he's hanging on to at this point. Since assuming office a little more than a year ago, Fairfax has drawn praise for standing up against celebrations of Virginia's racist past. As lieutenant governor, one of Fairfax's duties is to preside over the state senate. Last month, on Robert E. Lee's birthday, while elected officials paid tribute to the Confederate general, Fairfax stepped off the dais and sat in quiet protest. All right, I wouldn't celebrate Robert E. Lee. All right, go back and look at this man's history. Now, they celebrate this man. This man had to kidnap black men to fight for the Confederacy. And in fact, his regiment, they kidnapped more black men than anyone else. Go look at the history. I read the history on this man. He ain't what they claim he is. And Robert E. Lee is the one that went all the way up to Pennsylvania, y'all, and tried and did. Actually, I shouldn't say tried, he did kidnap Black people to take them back into the South for slavery. That's what he did. And most of them were women and children. I did a video on it. Okay. So if he was so powerful and such a great general, he should have been able to fight that war on his own. But no, not him. He had to kidnap a whole bunch of Black men in order to even progress as far as he did. They sure didn't do it on their own. You know, it's something to be said when this country try to act all high and mighty, but they have not fought one single war without the help of Black men. Not one war. Not one war. Not even the war for their independence. They had to go on to the plantation fields and get the slaves to help them fight for their own independence. Enough said. So no, I wouldn't celebrate no Robert E. Lee. He's sorry. Okay, you had to kidnap a bunch of Black men in order to get as far as you did. Man, I don't have to respect that. And I'm not going to. But let's go ahead and listen to this audio. I'm sorry, this audio.
Two political careers are right at the edge of change in Virginia this morning. One is that of Governor Ralph Northam. The Democrat apologized for a racist photo discovered in his medical school yearbook from 1984, but he then said the photo did not show him, and he has been trying to keep his job amid many calls to resign. The other career right on the edge is the man who would take charge if Northam is pushed out. Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax is only the second African-American elected statewide in Virginia history. NPR's Bragdon Booker has this profile.
Even before Justin Fairfax won his last election, he was getting a lot of buzz. Here's former President Barack Obama telling a Richmond crowd in 2017 that Justin Fairfax would make Virginia proud.
Justin went to college, went to law school, gave over his life to public service just to make sure that any striving young kid could have the same chances he did.
At his victory speech a few weeks later, Justin Fairfax thanked two titans of Virginia politics. The first, Linwood Holton. He's the Republican governor who took office in 1970 and helped put an end to segregation practices in Virginia. The other shout out was to the only other African American ever elected statewide.
And I also stand on the shoulders of a great man, L. Douglas Wilder, who was elected Lieutenant Governor of Virginia in 1985 and Governor in 1989, and I thank him for his leadership.
Fairfax got his undergrad degree from Duke and studied law at Columbia, both on scholarship. His wife is a dentist, and they have two young kids. At 39 years old, Justin Fairfax is a lot of things Governor Ralph Northam is not. Young, charismatic, and part of a multicultural wave sweeping through Virginia's Democratic Party. Here's Fairfax speaking on WAMU's Kojo Nnamdi show the day after his 2017 victory.
Virginia will be the match that sparks the wildfire of progressive change all across this country, and I believe that that's what's going to happen.
Since the racist photo of Northam's yearbook page surfaced, demonstrations popped up outside the governor's mansion.
Hey, hey, no governor! Hey,
Virginia Democratic Senators Tim Kaine and Mark Warner have called on Northam to resign. So have presidential hopefuls Senators Cory Booker of New Jersey and Kamala Harris of California. Former Vice President Joe Biden has too, adding on Twitter that, quote, Justin Fairfax is the leader Virginia needs now. For his part, Fairfax told NBC4 in Washington he hoped the governor would make the right decision.
We're at this really important inflection moment in the history of Virginia and of this nation, and we need leaders and leadership that can unite us.
Fairfax assuming the role of uniter-in-chief may be just what Virginia needs at this moment. That's according to Rachel Bidikofer. She's a political science professor at Christopher Newport University in Virginia.
I do think there's a lot of symbolic value from having Justin Fairfax become the state's governor at this particular juncture in American politics, because particularly here in Virginia, racial politics have just been so much in the limelight.
She points to the deadly Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville about a year and a half ago. Then there was this, just a few weeks ago, on the floor of the Virginia Senate.
Mr. President, I rise today to celebrate the 212th birthday of Robert E. Lee.
Elected officials paid tribute to Confederate icon General Robert E. Lee. As Lieutenant Governor, Fairfax normally presides over the chamber, but instead he sat in quiet protest. Fairfax is a descendant of a slave, Simon Fairfax, who was emancipated in 1798. He explained his boycott to member station WVTF.
I want to be clear that my children, my grandchildren, will not see me on videotape presiding over a motion honoring people who fought for a set of laws and a society that would have enslaved members of their family.
It was the right thing to do for him. It was the right thing to do for Virginia.
That's Jeffrey Bourne. He's a Democrat in the Virginia House of Delegates and a member of the Black Legislative Caucus. He says with that protest, Fairfax sent a message that racism and bigotry are things in Virginia's distant past.
It was a great testament and an example of who Justin Fairfax is and who Justin Fairfax will be in his public service life.
He hopes the next call to service for Justin Fairfax will come soon when he's sworn in as the 74th governor of Virginia. Braxton Booker, NPR News.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, people don't celebrate the losing side. That's not done anywhere in the world. It is just done here in the United States because of all these whiny ass people that are here. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.